village president as they deal with the concerns of the village. Lord, might they do it knowing that they're accountable first of all to you and to those that they serve. We pray that you would bless each of them, their families, provide the resources that are needed to move this village forward in such a way that you would be pleased with what's going on. Lord, we just ask you to bless them, watch over them, and keep them. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you. The Village Board of Trustees regularly scheduled board meeting will now come to order. The time is 5:04. The date is June 5th, 2024. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Charles Griffin.
Present.
Trustee Freddie Wilson.
Present.
Trustee Elliot Harper.
Present.
Trustee Tyrese Andrews.
Present.
Trustee Jimmy Viverette.
Present.
Trustee Johnny Griffin.
Present.
Mayor, let the record reflect that Trustee Antoine McMichaels is not in attendance, but you do have an full quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I'm going to ask for the board to amend the agenda. Yeah, okay. Right after CMAP, I want the clerk and some of the board members to present a check for the young lady that's going to study abroad. And so, Madam Clerk, I'm going to let you pretty much handle that ceremony. The purpose of it is so that we can place it on the village website and village YouTube site. And so, at this particular time, I'm going to call for a motion to amend the agenda. So moved by Trustee Wilson, and a second. Seconded by Trustee Andrews. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Trustee Griffin.
Yes.
Trustee Wilson.
Yes.
Trustee Andrews. Trustee Harper.
Yes.
Trustee Viverette.
Yes.
The motion is carried to amend the agenda.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I'm going to ask for the Board of Trustees to kind of step down. I'm ask for Lily Nagel, is it?
Right.
Yeah, you got married on us. And whatnot, come forward. We have a 15-minute presentation from CMAP. Lily, I'm going to ask for you to just introduce yourself to the Board of Trustees. Can you come down, please? And she's going to do a brief presentation on the village involvement with grant life cycle program. It's up to you. You can sit. It's up to you. Sit anyway. You sit anywhere. And if you want to move up a little closer so you can see what's going on, you're welcome to do so. I'm going to turn it over to Lily.
Well, hi everyone. I'm Lily Brack. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
I'm Lily Brack. I'm a planner with the Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning, and I'll talk a little bit more about what that is in a moment. But I've been working with the Village of Fort Heights actually for the past few years, but for the past about year on this project focused on providing the village with assistance around grant readiness. So we'll go over all of that shortly. Just a quick agenda, so I'll provide an intro to what is CMAP, who are we. I'll talk a little bit about what the Grant Readiness Program is, and then provide some recommendations and next steps based on what we've learned through working on the project. CMAP, Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning, is the comprehensive planning organization for the 7-county Chicagoland region. So we oversee 284 municipalities and 7 counties. And we do a lot of different things, but what I work on in particular, and what I've been working on in Fort Heights, is we provide what's called technical assistance to local communities. So particularly communities who don't have a ton of staff, which unfortunately is a lot of communities in our region. They don't have a ton of staff to do planning work in-house. And so through our, we call it the capacity building program, we provide assistance, we offer trainings, technical assistance, and boots on the ground support to local governments in the region. And so Fort Heights applied to us for our assistance, and they were awarded assistance around grant readiness. So what is the Grant Readiness Program? The goals of the program are to build capacity to apply for and manage grant funding. So grant funding is really important to communities, right? Money is how we get things done, and so it's an important component for a village to have those capabilities. Establish consensus on priority projects, so not only just applying for grant funding for everything, but really thinking about what are our priorities, what do we want to go for funding for first. Determine next steps for implementing priority projects. So yeah, we have all these things we want to do, but how do we actually get there? What are some of the funding sources out there? How do we make those projects happen? And finally, prepare projects for future external funding opportunities. So thinking about the funding opportunities that are out there, how can the village put themselves in a good position to actually access those funding opportunities to make projects happen? Desired outcomes of the program, we created, and I'll talk about this in a moment, but we created a policy for grant-related activities and project coordination goals. We also created a prioritized list of projects with an implementation strategy, so thinking about the different funding opportunities that are out there. And finally, ongoing communication between Fort Heights and partners, which is a really important part of everything that Fort Heights is doing right now. A timeline of the program, and this is all what happened in the past, so we actually closed out the project today, but summer through fall of 2023, we've been working on this project for about a year. So summer through fall, we spent time getting to know the community. I had worked with Fort Heights a lot in the past, so some of that was a bit expedited, but we interviewed staff to try to gain an understanding of the existing conditions, what's going on in Fort Heights related to grants and how you all sort of operate with grants and grant applications. Action plan development, we created an action plan that outlined the steps of exactly what we wanted to do with the village throughout the year that we would be working with them. Implementation and application assistance, so that was around fall through spring. We helped the village with a couple grant applications and also helped them work through some of their processes, which I'll talk about in a moment. And finally, the summary report and next steps. We created a summary report that summarized the work that we did and handed that off to the village. Some successes I want to highlight, and I am really proud of the collaboration that we've done with the village. They have a lot of exciting stuff going on as it is, but one of the things I wanted to highlight is that we assisted the village with a grant application to the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency's Energy Efficiency and Conservation Block Grant program. And through that, they were able to secure over $200,000 in funding for an energy plan, energy audit, and energy efficiency improvements for Village Hall. So that paired with, I know you all already have a DCEO grant that will help with some repairs for Village Hall, but you all are going to have a very nice looking Village Hall after that funding is spent, so that's really exciting. We also have been collaborating with the village to address a top priority, which is housing. I know the mayor has been very clear that that's a top priority in the village. And so we have been working with the village and the Illinois Housing Development Authority to get the ball rolling on some assistance that IDA provides, which is a housing stock assessment and also a community needs assessment. So IDA has committed to providing this assistance to the village. It's free, the best price, right? So IDA is going to create an inventory of all the housing stock in the village and also gather community input on what your vision is for the future of housing in Fort Heights. And that will be very helpful for Fort Heights to have that data to secure future funding opportunities related to housing. It's a really big deal that they're getting that. So very exciting. And then last thing I want to highlight with successes is that we developed several resources to build the village's capacity to apply for and manage grants. And one of those things is the grant life cycle process, which I'll delve into a little bit deeper here. Also want to highlight we created a comprehensive list of funding opportunities that are out there. There are a lot out there right now with the bipartisan infrastructure bill, and so we created a comprehensive list for the village to reference in the future. What is a grant life cycle process? Well, if you think about grants, I don't know if everyone here is familiar with grants, but if you are, you know that there is a application, then there's an award, and then you have to do a bunch of, management of the grant, reporting, that sort of thing, and then there's the closeout. And so that is what we consider the grant lifecycle process. And so something we do with our grant readiness assistance with communities is work with them to really streamline that process and make it very clear as to what that process is. And so at the beginning of the project, whenever we started working with the village, we interviewed staff. So there were 7 staff who we interviewed and asked them about the village's current process. How do they typically apply for and manage grants? What does that look like? And then also gathered feedback on maybe what some improvements could be in the future. And so we used all that info and created a actual documented process for the village to use. And this is just the pre-award phase, and I'm not gonna go through this in full detail because we would be here all night, and I know you all have other things to do. But what I really wanna emphasize here is that the pink boxes are the mayor's roles and the mayor's team's roles. And so as you can see, there's a lot of pink here, right? And ideally what we would like to see is there be more distribution of work related to grants. And we see this in a lot of communities who don't have a lot of staff. This is very common. But much of the burden is being placed on just a few individuals, as you can see in this chart. And so again, through talking with staff and understanding what the current processes are like, we believe that the village would greatly benefit from hiring a part-time planner. And we've seen that there's a significant amount of responsibility kind of dispersed amongst a few individuals. And so I know that recruitment takes a lot of time and work, and so something we provided as part of this assistance to the village is a job description for a planner. Basically everything that you would post online for recruitment, along with some sample interview questions. So if that is something, I'm sure you guys will all have ongoing conversations about this, but if that is something that you all decide to do, that piece is hopefully already completed or just a couple minor revisions to that. Other recommendations we made, so of course I talked about this earlier, but Fort Heights was awarded assistance from the Illinois Housing Development Authority to develop a housing stock survey. So we encouraged the village to kind of carry that through to finish and complete that, and that's actually scheduled for this summer. So that'll be ready soon, hopefully. And then we also recommend that the village join, it's called the SSMMA GIS Consortium, but essentially it's a shared service where the village can have GIS or mapping services. And that's a really big deal because accessing that kind of data is really important for a lot of grant applications, and it can be something that's really helpful. So the village has, a quote, and they, can kind of decide from there if it's right for you guys. Also continue refining internal processes and coordination. Part of this is that grant lifecycle process that we talked about. So really thinking about internal roles, making things even more efficient and streamlining processes. But especially with hiring more staff, right, you can kind of make things more efficient and streamlined with more capacity. We also recommend that the village should continue monitoring new funding opportunities. And again, there are so many out there. So we provided the list of available funding sources, and we encourage the village to continue updating that as time goes on and new stuff pops up. And finally, continue collaborating with regional partners to address priorities. I know the village has an advisory team, which I don't know if everyone in this room is aware of, but it's a really innovative concept where they convene partners quarterly, partner agencies like CMAP and others, and we kind of talk through some of the challenges that the village is experiencing and sort of put our heads together to figure out what resources each of those agencies offer. And I think just continuing with that and also partnering with organizations for technical assistance like the village has been doing would be great. And finally, yeah, that's it. Sorry. So next steps. we encourage the village to roll out the grant life cycle process that we've worked through. So that will basically be now through indefinitely. And then, as I mentioned, the IDA Housing Stock Survey and Community Needs Assessment, that'll be happening this summer. So, and then we are not going anywhere necessarily. We will have quarterly check-ins with the village for the next year. And then, of course, like I'm always here as a resource for the village too. If anyone has any questions, this is my contact info. Feel free to reach out, and I'd be happy to take questions now too if anyone has any.
Anyone? Let me just say that it's been a pleasure working with Lily and CMAP, and the village will continue that type of collaboration. We got not only the energy efficiency grant, but the village also received $1.5 million from the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity. And one of the major purposes of that particular grant is they're going to replace the HVAC unit here. So probably next year this time, if you're in this room, it won't be as humid, I should say. Looking at that system, it's probably a couple $100,000 at the least. They're going to also replace the roof from the south end of the building to the north end of the building. And we anticipate that's going to be over $350,000. So there's probably 17 or 18 different grants that the village has collaborated with CMAP and the Ontario Group and SSMMA and others on. I think it's a total of like $8.4 million of new resources that's coming into the village of Port Heights. And we're certainly proud of that type of collaboration. So we look forward to just continuing that association. And it's vital, and I wanted the trustees to really understand that you have to at some point get younger in terms of your staffing. You have to look at the fact that we're not going to be here that much longer. So starting with an urban planner would be the best way. And that urban planner would learn how municipalities work. That urban planner would learn about those vital things that's instrumental and operate local government, and how to find resources to improve your community. And so we're gonna work and look at Governor State University, U of I, Chicago campus, and Chicago State. And the goal is to accept the recommendation from CMAP and to, at some point, hire an urban planner and eventually a planner. You know, the urban planner position will probably be $30,000, $35,000, $40,000 part-time, but the planner's position will probably be $75,000, somewhere in that category. We have to get there. And with the truck stop that you have coming in, you had a $150 million project off of 394. The village will now have the resources to start make that type of adaptation. And so I'm proud of that. I'm proud of the collaboration with the whole team. And I look forward to the village doing even greater things in the future. Okay. Thank you, Lily.
Yeah, thank
Give
you.
her a hand, please. And before we go Madam Clerk, I'm going to ask for you to come forward. We have a young lady. I see that she just walked in the door. A friend, I would say fruit of individuals that are born and raised here in the village of Port Heights, that's going abroad, if I'm not mistaken, in Portugal. And she's going to do some studies. And on behalf, Judge, would you come up, please? On behalf of the village of Port Heights, the Studley Group, we would like to present, would you come forward, please? A donation, a check, thank you, to you, and wish you nothing but the very best. something to say?
Education is the key. And we hear so much talk about young folks having no direction or having any responsibility. So when we see a young lady like this, who is not only having direction, but excels, we gotta help her.
That's right.
You know, what it takes.
Thank you.
I'm just trying to assist in her aid.
And last but not least, before I can't pronounce the first name, so excuse me, but I'm asking for the trustees, come get a couple shots, please. And grandparents, get in it. It's gonna be on the website. We're gonna make sure this is the front page. Okay?
I ain't never been through.
Okay, thank you.
I ain't never been up here.
Go ahead. Get in the back where we'll see the
That's
show.
what I said. I'm getting back.
You guys kind of squeeze in.
Squeeze in a little bit, please.
It's a funny spelling, but it's Bailey. That's the name. Bailey.
Daily best.
Just a little bit.
Scoot over.
The guy in the front, right here. Right here. No.
Oh, red. Can you scoot over this a little bit? Okay.
Get out the picture, huh? Just say that.
All right, everybody looking right here. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. One more. All right.
Thank you. And last but not least, a couple words?
Yeah.
I'll hold you.
Thank you. Let's go, sir. I don't know, I ain't never did it. Yes.
Give it to her.
What broke your child?
But you give her that. Little bit.
Yes,
Okay. Good.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Bailey Best, and I am here today to thank you. It will be hard to express the extent of my gratitude before you today, simply because it is just that vast. I thank you for not only this economic help, but your belief in me and my potential. This money is being put forth towards my studies of aquatic ecosystems and sustainability in Lisbon, Portugal this summer. Without it, I would not have been able to explore this wonderful opportunity I have been given. Words cannot adequately convey the depth of my appreciation for this incredible privilege. I will go forth to expand my knowledge and broaden my horizons. As a young Black woman with large aspirations, I absolutely need support to thrive, and your support and belief in my potential means the world to me. I will continue to strive for further excellence in my academic and personal endeavors. I am beyond committed to making the most of this opportunity and giving not only my best effort while in Portugal, but also my best effort to return home wiser, more open-hearted, and overall a better person. With your support, I am more determined than ever to pursue my goals and contribute positively to society. I promise to work diligently, to uphold strong values, and to one day give back in a way that honors the generosity you have shown me. Finally, thank you again for your investment in my future. I am deeply thankful for this scholarship, and I look forward to making my impact.
Thank you. Get my. Come on, Judge. Let's get a single picture. Good.
Let's go a little bit more that.
This one?
Yeah, right there. Perfect. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
You'll do great.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You must speak fluent in Spanish.
I speak Spanish pretty well, but I have to brush up on my Portuguese.
You're Portuguese, oh, there's a difference.
Portuguese is different from Spanish.
Yes.
You lived there for 2 years? We good? Thank you. Ready yet?
Yes.
Okay, next on the agenda, consideration of possible action to approve regular, meeting minutes for May 15, 2024. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Moved by trustee Wilson, is there a second? Second by trustee Deverett, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Trustee Harper? Trustee Andrews?
Yes.
Trustee Griffin?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Viverett?
Yeah.
The motion has carried to approve the regular meeting minutes for May 15, 2024.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Under the mayor's report, consideration of possible action to amend ordinance number 2024-06-05-01. An ordinance amending chapter 46, taxation by adding article 8, municipal motor fuel tax to the Fort Heights Municipal Code. Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by trustee Griffin, is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Wilson, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Trustee Andrews?
Yes.
Trustee Harper? Trustee Viverett?
Yeah.
Trustee Griffin?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
The motion has carried to approve, to amend ordinance number 2024-06-05-01, an ordinance amending chapter 46 taxation by adding article 8 municipal motor fuel tax to the Fort Heights Municipal Code.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Item B, consideration with possible action to approve ordinance number 2024-06-05-02. An ordinance of the Village of Fort Heights, Cook County, Illinois, approving Route 394/Lincoln Highway Industrial Redevelopment Project and Plan. That's for the truck stop. That's for ratifying and certifying the new TIF district for the truck stop off of 394. Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by trustee Griffin, is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Andrews. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Trustee Viverett?
Yes.
Trustee Griffin?
Yes.
Trustee Harper?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Andrews?
Yes.
The motion has carried to approve ordinance number 2024-06-05-02, an ordinance of the Village of Fort Heights, Cook County, Illinois, approving Route 394 Lincoln Highway Industrial Redevelopment Project and Plan.
Item number C, consideration with possible action to approve ordinance number 2024-06-05-03. An ordinance designating Route 394 Lincoln Highway Industrial Redevelopment Project and Plan in the Village of Fort Heights, Cook County, Illinois. Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by trustee Wilson, is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Griffin, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Griffin?
Yes.
Trustee Harper?
Yes.
Trustee Viverett?
Yes.
Trustee Andrews? The motion has carried to approve ordinance number 2024-06-05-03, an ordinance designating Route 394 Lincoln Highway Industrial Redevelopment Project and Plan in the Village of Fort Heights, Cook County, Illinois.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Item D, consideration with possible action to adopt ordinance number 2024-06-04. An ordinance adopting tax increment allocation financing for Route 394/Lincoln Highway Industrial Redevelopment Project. Can I have a motion to approve? Moved by trustee Andrews, is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Wilson, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Trustee Griffin?
Yes.
Trustee Viverett?
Yes.
Trustee Harper?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Andrews.
Yes.
The motion has carried to approve ordinance number 2024-06-05-04, an ordinance adopting tax increment allocation financing for Route 394, Lincoln Highway Industrial.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Finally, under the mayor's report, I have consideration with possible action to authorize the mayor and village attorney to pay a debt owed to Tower Incorporated. Is there a motion?
So move, Mayor.
Moved by trustee Griffin, is there a second? Second by trustee Andrews. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Griffin?
Yes.
Trustee Andrews? Trustee Harper? Trustee Vivian? The motion has carried to authorize Mayor Griffin and the village attorney to repay debt owed to Tower Inc.
Thank you. Legal. Sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. That leads right into, we was in court with Tower Contracting on the 3rd of June. And we was able to negotiate a payment to them in the amount of $10,000.
Good.
Which was what the board authorized me to try to negotiate whatever as lower amount as possible. They have agreed to it. The judge put a date for June 10th for us to pay that, so we need a check payable to them that I will forward on to their attorneys. Also, we need the board to approve a long-term lease with Ford Heights Environmental and Sustainable LLC and the village to allow us to move forward on the solar farms that are being contemplated. I heard from Larry Wozniacki, and he said he has gotten 2 or 3 inquiries of putting a signage on that land. And that should be a plus situation for the village. The type of signage that they want to put up, and the costs involved in the signage. And last but not least, I need the council to approve the signing of the letter of intent with Supreme Solutions to build a community solar farm. That they have, the letter of intent does not obligate us in any way, form, or fashion. All it does is give them the authorization to go out and find the funding. And it is their belief that they have the mechanism to obtain the funding once the letter of intent has been signed. Any questions?
I have a question.
Yes,
What's the time limit on the letter
of
of
intent?
intent if they don't produce?
Well, but all the letter of intent says is that the village contemplate constructing solar farm. On their part, it's saying that they will obtain the funding and everything in order to facilitate the solar farm. It does not obligate either party in terms of contractual. Once they have secured the funding and everything, then we go down to the contractual amount, what is required for each side. This is just giving each side the right to proceed.
And you were saying on a long-term lease?
No, that's something different. The long-term lease we're talking about with Ford Heights Environmental and Sustainable LLC. That is a nonprofit LLC for funding the additional project with Ford Heights. That is village driven because it's going to allow the village to receive funds that are a result of the project.
You talking about the one before the last one you did?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the one. Fort Heights Environmental and Sustainable LLC is a conglomeration of the Copac Group and Fort Heights in putting together a system whereby they will be responsible for all the funding. The only thing the village gotta do is supply the land.
You
Let
stated,
me, go ahead, Jim.
you stated that it would benefit the village pretty good. There's no
Oh,
type of
absolutely.
estimation or guesstimation as far as financially what, how.
We don't know at this point, but we know that, the amount of grant money that's out there for something like this is in the up to millions.
Let me just say that this particular, project is over there on 394. It's on the south side of Lincoln Highway. It's where you put all the water, retention, the reservoir by Dead Creek. Okay, they used to call it Dead Man's Lake. It's over there. You cannot do any type of development in that area. So what I wanted to do was to find out whether or not we could generate some type of project that would generate municipal revenue. So this particular group has identified putting signage in there. The signage would be like $5,000 a month. That group gets like maybe 40%, the village gets 50-some%. Or the village gets 49%. It's somewhere in that area, but right now the village is getting nothing off of 30 acres over there. We're not gonna get anything if we don't put some type of development that's comparable for that land, because the United States Department of Agriculture, when they put that reservoir and that retention device in that area, you can't develop any structures. You can't put anything over there. So what Larry is thinking about is possibly doing some type of electrification plant over there by generating solar and creating electricity and selling it to ComEd. Well, the village may end up getting millions of dollars, or the village may end up getting very little. At any rate, if you don't do nothing, you're not gonna get anything anyway.
And keep us, keep it maintained too, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
So can I have a motion to allow the attorney to enter, and the mayor to enter into agreement with the,
So moved.
moved by trustee Griffin, is there a second?
Second,
Second by trustee Viverett. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Trustee Andrews?
yeah.
Trustee Harper?
What's the second?
Trustee Wilson? Trustee Griffin? Trustee Viverett?
Yes.
The motion has carried to allow the village attorney and mayor to enter into to sign the letter of intent.
No.
No.
Agreement.
This is the lease.
It's a lease agreement.
Oopsies. To enter into a lease agreement. Because I didn't know what
Okay. All right, thank you. And also, the second part of the attorney's report was requesting a letter of intent for Supreme Solutions. They're actually looking at some land that used to have public housing on it that Cook County owns, and we're trying to transfer land over to them. But what would happen is, if vacant land now generates no money or anything, we will enter into a public-private partnership with them. So if it generates electricity, what we'll get a percentage of it, they'll get a percentage of it, and at the same time, you will start to get some property taxes.
Is that right here down in
Right.
That's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah,
Right down
yes,
in Broadway?
yes.
Right across my church?
Yes,
Yeah.
okay. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved, man.
Moved by trustee Viverett, is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Wilson. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Trustee Griffin?
Yes.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Andrews? Trustee Harper?
Yes.
Trustee Viverett?
Yes.
The motion has carried to approve transfer of land.
Nope,
That's not either.
No, that's
that's
the letter of intent.
LOI.
Oh, y'all killed me today. The motion has carried to approve the letter of intent. My apologies.
That's okay.
Okay.
I am, I'm tripping.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, that completes my report, and I think if we can get some of these projects started, it should be a win-win for the village, in the years to come.
Okay, thank you, Jay. I see it here, I'm not gonna do it. Okay, old business, just, we had the Cook County Sheriff here, I think it was the meeting before last, and the legal department. What we want to do, and I've talked with a number of the board members, is there's like 3 or 4 locations in the village where there's been random gunfire. It's ridiculous. We want them to hold up their end of the bargain, and if there's any way we can haul them into court and force them to either sell the property or a judge instruct them to evict the tenant or do whatever. I want to get 3 or 4 addresses to you, and I would like for that correspondence to go to Tom Dart.
What would have happened, not only send it to Tom Dart, but to the state's attorney's office, because they're the ones who will give the demand to the landlord to either eradicate the problem or evict the tenants. If the landlord does not do that, then they will confiscate the property.
Okay, and so, are there any questions in reference to Trustee Wilson?
Judge, how long would it take for them to do that? Is this a long process?
No, it's probably the basic eviction process. In most cases, it's like you serving a tenant a 5-day notice or 30-day notice. That they have not taken care of the issue within that period of time, then you can proceed with the eviction.
It should be relatively easy because these locations, there's been police called for gunfire at least 10 to 15 times each, you know, and so something has to be done.
And we're probably gonna have to meet with the supervisor of the state's attorney's office. And just let them know what the problem is. But I don't know if the sheriff has the ability or the willingness to convey that information.
Okay.
Because you would think it should have been conveyed to the state's attorney's office way before now.
Right. Thank you.
But the question is this gonna be done, or are we just spinning our wheels talking? Because I wanna say this
Well, the
as a
state's
trustee.
attorney is not aware of this. You know, once we sit down and bring it to their attention, they are able to proceed with the condemnation of the property.
Well, I state this because I've had several talks with the county police, and I'm gonna state this for the record. One of my houses in my truck at my property. It's 2 incidents in the last 2 weeks that my property has been shot up. So I'm dealing with that right now, and I hear you saying that we can do this and we can do that, but will we be talking about this in 2 weeks or a month or
I can't promise
2 months or a year?
What I can
Or will I be
promise you,
going back through the same thing?
what I can promise you is that I will personally contact the state's attorney. And
I appreciate that.
inquire a meeting with the supervisor and the mayor, so we can let them know the plight that we are facing.
Well, I appreciate that.
Thank you, Attorney.
It's a major thing in Chicago. They have a program already in place. And once the state's attorney give you that notice,
We can adopt it.
right,
Okay, that's what I want to know, because coming out of my driveway, going up the street, coming home from enjoying myself, getting up, going to church, and I'm having this problem, and we didn't have the county in here, and they make a promise, but they never keep their promise. And I understand why certain trustees want to get our own police department back and all that, but when it started hitting close to home, then you got something to talk about, right? Okay, that's what it's done. Excuse me for being irate, but
Old business. There's a couple of requests, and I can tell you this, attorney, and I'm gonna ask you to work with trustee Wilson on Lexington and Route 30. It's horrendous. I've talked with the chief, and I don't think we get any action. I don't think we get the type of response that we should get. You have folks that they don't have a peddler's license, they don't have business license, but they sell hamburgers and barbecue and weed and whatever else they want to sell every day. And so I don't know if that's another issue we could bring to the state's attorney's office, that we want to eradicate that. We are even thinking about making Lexington a one-way with no parking signs on one side of the street. But we definitely, if we're gonna get to development, we're getting the development on 394.
Right.
That's coming. But if you're gonna ever get anything on Route 30, Route 30 has to be cleaned up. We can talk about the red and white store, but this is just as bad. This is maybe a little worse.
Well,
So,
maybe,
I don't know what it is, but
I think the first thing is to solicit a meeting with the state's attorney's office. And once that is done, have an agenda of the items that we are concerned about in terms of them being able to proceed with some action.
Council, that sounds good. But I think we need to get some of the village people involved in this as well. People that live out here, the people
People
that's
what?
experiencing in this meeting. That sounds good.
No,
I mean,
no,
we can make
no.
plans.
I wouldn't
but-
bring a meeting with the village people involved. First, you need to explain to them what the circumstances is, and see what they can do. Then once that is done, and we've come to a conclusion of what type of agreement we're gonna have, then you can bring the village people in.
Well, I think it's a fact that they're out here sleeping in
state's
cars,
attorney is
sleeping in
not out
cars,
here.
excuse me,
the
sir.
state's attorney is not. He's talking about going to state's attorney,
Yeah, I'm going
not
back.
the Cook County Sheriff.
I'm
Right,
going
no, I-
back a conversation.
Yeah.
But my thing is, the Cook County sheriffs are out here. And if they ain't in that corner sleep, they in that corner sleep. They're nowhere where the problems exist. That needs to be addressed as well. You sit at the store, you watch them sell drugs in front of you at the store, so what do? Do we put any stipulations in the clause that you need to do your damn job, or what?
Let's go ahead.
Probably gonna have to request a meeting with Mr. Dark as well.
So we do both. We do whatever we have to do
Right.
to make it better. You got folks investing all this money, building these houses from foundation up, and who the hell don't want to stay here? If it continues, I understand.
Including me.
But the fact of the matter is that you have to do it the right way. Let's let the attorney send a letter, schedule a meeting with the state's attorney and Mr. Dart. And then let's develop a strategy to do whatever we need to do and go that particular way. So, let's do that, Jim. Okay. Item A on the old business is a peddler's license request from a Tamara Johnson to sell snow cones. Everybody wants to sell snow cones. And, handheld items from 12 to noon along 13th Street. For how long? Is this, is this for, the summer?
Yes, Mayor.
It's for the summer?
Man, you open up a can of worms, you're gonna have a box of worms.
Well, we got people selling stuff on a highway right now, don't even come to get a peddler's
Well,
license.
my response to that is, if you want to let them sell snow cones, put them down in one of them fields, let the people walk up to the fields.
She said
Instead of
13th
next
Street,
door, instead of next door to somebody.
She
So
said
what- then
13th
when the
and
problem
Woodlawn.
break out,
13th
then
and Woodlawn.
people next door ain't even involved.
It's the board, whatever the board wanna do, I'm fine with it. She said 13th and Woodlawn.
That's a call for you.
Right. So, what's the board's pleasure?
So move, man.
Well,
I make a motion that,
no, let me call for the motion.
oh, I thought we called.
Okay, get up a motion to approve, Tamara Johnson's request to sell snow cones across from First Union. And before the board do that, understand one thing, that a lot of that land is gonna be turned over to the park district, probably by this time next year. We got $600,000 to put a football field in there. We got an expanded children's park, to put a dog park in there, basketball courts, and a walk trail.
That's a lot.
Okay, all of that is fixing to be done. It's already approved. And so we won't have these problems. That'll be the park district's problem. Okay, now can I have a motion to approve?
I make a motion that we, approve that, she get a license.
Moved by trustee Viverett, is there a second?
Second.
Second by trustee Andrews, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Trustee Harper?
Yes.
Trustee Viverett?
Yes.
Trustee Andrews?
Yes.
Trustee Griffin? Trustee Wilson?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on a second. Okay, the motion has carried to approve a peddler's license to Tamara Johnson to sell snow cones and food handheld items from 12 noon until 8 p.m. along 13th Street and Woodlawn across from the First Union Missionary Baptist Church.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Now, this next motion, item B, is, actually, I don't really think they need a peddler's license for this. I just think that they need the board's approval. But it's just an area. What they want to do, this is Preacher Head Ministries, want to do a charitable giveaway at Lexington and Lincoln Highway. That's a congested area. Right now, it's like they have parties every night, you know. I don't know how, if they want to do it at that location, I don't know.
You know, man, they comes out every year and does that, giveaway, like, you know, ordering clothes and stuff like that. So, I mean, in the previous, we have allowed them to come there, you know, they only be there for one day, you know what I'm saying?
This is for July 7th. Is this just for the one day, Madam Clerk?
It's gonna be July, it's the first Sunday of the month, so it'll be July, October, and then one in January.
Okay. Can I have a motion to approve? Moved by trustee Andrews, is that second? Second. Second by trustee Viverett. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Trustee Wilson?
Yes.
Trustee Griffin? Trustee Andrews?
Yes.
Trustee Harper?
Yes.
Trustee Viverett?
Yes.
The motion has carried to approve Preacher Head Ministries to provide charitable giveaway at Lexington and Lincoln Highway from 12 noon until 2 p.m. beginning July 7th, 2024, and the month of October and the month of January of 2025.
And also under those business, I could say the rec building is coming along. That was a grant that I got in 2015 that the administration that replaced me actually lost the grant. The Illinois Department of Natural Resources. I was able to revive that particular grant, but they give us to September 30th to finish it, and they give us no extra money. So you can imagine the challenges because the construction cost in 2015 was a lot lower than the construction cost is now. And so we have been able to work with Gooseberry, and we got donations through them to help with that process. Along with, we poured down $224,000 from the Department of Natural Resources. Once we complete that particular building, there's another $224,000 that the village will receive to kind of replace some of the money that we borrowed from other items in order to get this thing done. And so I'm pleased with the fact that they put the mezzanine up in there. They've already framed the female and male bathrooms. And so now they'll start to do all the paneling around the place and put the lighting in. I think that we'll finish that way before the September 30th deadline. And so I'm real proud of that. That's another building that we were able to secure funding for that will be turned over to the Park District. And so I'm encouraging folks to get involved with that Park District and to run for office because they need it. They need the support, the public service, And now that you put the new truck stop in, they will start to generate some money, you know, that they have a little bit to operate off of. And so I'm just giving you and the board a report on that, how well that project is going. So that completes new, old business, new business, any new business.
I'm taking care of what's on there.
Yeah, we've already taken care of what's listed under new business. So there's none. Citizens. Citizens, I'm gonna ask that you stand, give your name, and be as brief as possible. It's a little hot in here. And we want to probably get out of here a reasonable amount of time. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, my name is Kimberly Griffin, and I live at 1423 East 15th Street, Fort Heights, Illinois. Like Trustee Griffin was reiterating on what had happened in the last week. So this morning when I arrived, I started doing some research as always. And I said, on behalf of Lincoln Way, located in the town of Fort Heights, Illinois, we the homeowners ask, can you please assist us in efforts to disrupt this trafficking of controlled substance? And the first question was going to be to Judge Studley. Can you obtain the state's attorney's office information for us? That was going to be my question to you tonight. And then when you just reiterated what you said, I know that you have the power to talk or get questions asked on our behalf. Because I was told that today, I called a couple of people from the state's attorney's office. When I first looked up everything, that's the first place they told me to look up. And this is for these landlords who are willingly and unknowingly renting to people that makes or deals drugs out of their rental properties, making it liability for everybody else that's on the street in their premises. It's 6 different houses or more that have bullet holes in their homes. And these are some of the elderly people. Now we just had a demonstration with one of the older members of our street. She had been there for a long time, 100 years old. What do our street look like? And it's been ruined. The whole process has been ruined because of these people. And I did ask the state's attorney this morning about the landlord, how they can take his license.
Well, not his license, but his property.
The property, yes. And they told me that they could, and to find someone, and I said I would talk to you today, or well, tonight. Okay. And it's just been, I don't even want to start crying because it makes me really mad. When I can't sit on my front doorstep, we can't go out the house, you can't barbecue, you got 4th of July coming up, I'm not going to know if it's a gunshot or a firecracker. But I heard it at 4 o'clock that morning, and it went off like we were in a war somewhere. But I see these little fellas every day. And I know everybody in this whole village, they know who families these people come from and everything. And I see these little guys and I know they're family members. And I'm just sick and tired of looking at them.
Yeah, I will be at the state's attorney's office tomorrow.
Thank you so much.
To
I
set
really
something up,
appreciate it.
you know, but it's gonna take the residents also.
I went around this morning. I went to every house. I called, they were visitors at Rex Bradford's house on that particular day. It ran them in the house because they just visiting. But I went to every house today to find out who's gonna come forth. You know, who's gonna come forth other than me?
Because it's important.
It's important.
It's important that the residents.
And I know they thinking, oh man, if we say something, they gonna retaliate. I said, well, don't you think these people every day that protect us out of the goodness of their hearts, and I know people will say, well, they want to be a police because they want to be a police. You know, I mean, that's their career and everything, but from police to firemen, from security guards, all of these people that protect us.
Let me, I hate to interrupt, Kim, but if you need to continue, we could schedule an appointment with the attorney he has already a plan on how we're gonna pursue.
Well, I didn't know
this,
what
and
he
he's
was
gonna
gonna
act,
do.
he's gonna act immediately.
Thank
Any
you very
other
much.
citizens?
So, I was gonna say,
Ain't nobody else saying nothing.
I was just kind of jumping in, just listening and stuff like that. But, of course, my name is Willie Robinson. I was listening to Trustee Griffin, and I was saying, because Judge Sullivan was saying about the program that the state's attorney has, I was just sitting there brainstorming. I was thinking, since Trustee Griffin made a report, can you take his case as a test case to see how the state's attorney is gonna run it?
Well,
Because
first
normally-
thing I gotta do is meet with the state's attorney and tell him what the issue is, and then we can use his cases.
That's what I'm saying, since he already got a case going.
Two of
Well, I'm just saying, 2, 3, 2, 6, just saying it could be like a test case, because normally the program was in Chicago, but see how it's gonna run out here. That's what I was thinking, because he already has a case, you know what I'm saying, you ain't gotta go run.
Well, he has an incident
Yeah,
because
well,
there's no
incident.
case.
Well, they got the case number, so they got the case number.
You have a case number?
Did you make a police report?
Two of them.
You got a police report, you don't
So-
have a case.
The police report is the
I haven't
case number.
obtained the police report
The
yet.
police report is gonna be the
But
case
it's two
number.
of them. It's two instances
But
in a
I'm,
week and a
but
half.
I'm saying, when you say you have a case, that means you have a complaint in the circuit court.
Right.
Is that correct?
No.
That mean I gotta go downtown.
Beg pardon?
Do that mean I gotta go downtown?
No.
Let Judge Studley do what he has to do.
You know, once they have a police report, the state's attorney can file a case on your behalf.
Pertaining to that case that they had. Pretty much just saying, he already had two case reports.
He has two incidents
Yeah,
reports.
that they could use for like the test case, whatever.
In order to file a case.
Well, the state's attorney was saying, once you hear about it, then they could just go boom right there, once you talk to them. So I'm saying they could just start it from there.
Yeah.
But that's just me just brainstorming. Because you already have the trustee here, and you know he's gonna not back out like some of the other citizens, like, you know, like you were saying, everybody's kind of scared.
I don't care who here.
But my other thing I was gonna say too was,
I have
we were speaking
citizen
about
rights.
the people with the rental properties and stuff like that.
Yes.
Like, just saying, because over in Chicago Heights, what they had to do through the police department, when you rent your property, you have to get it approved through the city before you can rent that property out. You know what I'm saying, to anybody.
Right.
You know what I'm saying, and normally it would go through the police department, I don't know how the county is with that, but just saying, that's just kind of like throwing something out there for you guys. Because like I said, right now, it's kind of like anybody can just rent to anybody, you know what I'm saying? So, if, you know what I'm saying, if you ain't worried about the people that you're renting to having a problem, they just simply do like, you know, create that program that pretty much exists, it's just you gotta take it on and put it into the village.
I got that right here. Just hold it.
Well, you would have to first find out whether you have, Chicago Heights home rule.
Right.
Okay, it's a different authority when you're home rule.
But I'm sure.
As far as property is concerned, home rule gives you a long list of different options and things that you can do. Matter of fact, the next election, this village will be running a referendum to become a home rule. But that's something we're still gonna look at.
I don't think that's just based on, that's just basically keeping your community safe. I've been in police since '94.
Well, let's look at it. We'll look
I'm
at
just
it.
saying, you know, it's just, like I said, protect the citizens, because, like I said, being police, you have a lot of people that be like, they don't want somebody to retaliate, you know what I'm saying? And so, not trying to be funny, when you do have your own police, I ain't scared. Just saying.
Thank you. Trustee Wilson, the new business, I want you to introduce, you had a couple people that were, you want to have them stand or come forward, please?
Sam, could you please come forward, stand right here? And, did you need your father with you? Okay.
Right.
You want to speak to the board and the mayor about the situation with the
Just hold
house?
on, just 1 minute.
Good afternoon, board. How you
Sorry.
doing? It's okay. How are you? How you doing, man? Good seeing you again. I'm Sam Sparks. I'm a developer here in Chicago and other cities abroad. I've been a developer, residential and commercial, for the last 11, 12 years. I've done some pretty big projects where we have oversaw and facilitated and redeveloped communities. I've been doing my due diligence with Trustee Freddie, the mayor, Assistant Chief Tobias. Also, prior to that, as a youngin, I grew up and I was a fireman here with Assistant Chief Lee. So coming back into this community, I kind of know the community already and kind of know some of the issues that the Village of Fort Heights is facing towards residential and commercial development. With my resources over the years and my relationships, I think if we allocate and come up with a great idea, we can do something in the greater land of the Village of Fort Heights. We're not only turning it over, but also allocating in some of the spaces, like Trustee Griffin said, some of the issues. We're looking to bring a nice size of money out here with my partnerships and relationships to do something extremely great. We got a great idea. We're thinking about doing something on Lincoln Highway. We're not only utilizing the space to develop what is already pre-existing, but some of the issues that we have with houses, if we bring something and build something new, it would kind of foresee and kind of push the process of Fort Heights looking better and doing better. So we want to jump in. We want to jump in fast. We have all our necessities and everything set up to do the work. It just has to make sense on our end. So right now we're just doing our due diligence and kind of putting the things together. All business has to make sense. So we try to make sure that the numbers is correct. It's great for market rate rent. I'll tell you what we want to do. We want to do rental, because I think the village will really succeed off of that. If you know about Chicago is developing really big, so they're pushing everything migrating here if you don't have the money to live in Chicago. So I think you see that flow coming very soon in the next 2 years. There'll be flooding out here, and I think if Fort Heights is on the forefront of this thing, not only with being able to use what we have and utilize what we bring in, but it will initially give Fort Heights the opportunity to bring in bigger grants, bigger relationships, things of that nature. So we're excited. One of my partners is Mark Cannon, who's here. My grandfather, who's been in the business, has a general contracting company. I own a development company. We're young. I heard you guys were talking about you guys want young guys who spearheaded and who knows numbers and who can really come in and make change. So that's what we're doing. We also want to be allocated to help the village, but not only suffice our village residents, which if you owners of the village residents, I have knowledge and wisdom on a commercial side that we could have some great ideas to help stabilize and grow the comp value in the community as well. So I know how property value, property taxes, and numbers make sense. So that's what we're here for. I'll leave my information, so if anybody wants to reach out, we have a full team. It's not just me, myself. I don't want to say this in the wrong way, but we are a black company, but we utilize in a very high way. And we do this in a sufficient quality space. Yes, sir.
Quick question.
Yes, sir.
My thing is you have met with Trustee Wilson and Mayor Griffin?
Yes, sir.
Okay, two-part question. Location.
Mm-hmm.
Have you talked about a location?
Well,
where you want to build something?
There's been a couple of locations that we spoke upon. One, we have not come down with a solid location just yet, because we don't want to just jump in and do anything. We want to do everything that makes sense and have the intentionality of what we are doing. So if we building over here, what is the next step after building that? So we're just not saying this one place. We kind of making sense with y'all overall entire goal here in the Village of Fort Heights.
What location and where?
It's multiple locations. Mayor, or do you prefer me to speak upon where we were speaking, talking about?
I would like to know.
Okay, one we were speaking about Lincoln Highway. I think it's adjacent to right here. Yeah, straight down. I think that's Brew or something like that. I don't know what street that is, but Berkeley. So straight down Berkeley.
Right here.
Berkeley, and we talking about doing some residential there that's rental. Maybe some 2 units, 3 units, 2 flats, 3 flats. Very clean, very precise. mid-grade finishing, so we're not doing anything that is cheap or anything of that nature. We're gonna do some real work, and something that's not gonna fall back into the part where, if I'm not mistaken, when I did my due diligence, some old developers here, and they built some stuff out that wasn't feasible or creative enough for the village to sustain and win. So that's what we're doing, our part, where we've been very strategic and creative to make sense not only for us, but the village and whoever will be living there.
That was my next question.
Yes, sir.
This is answered. That's all right.
Yes, sir. Anyone else?
Any other questions from the council? Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys.
Any other citizens?
Hello, my name is Barbara Morgan. I live on Diplomat. I want you guys to hear something. That was in front of my house. That was in front of my house on the day, I forget the day, it was a Wednesday night. I talked to Mayor Griffin. So I talked to Mayor Griffin and I let him know what happened. I even talked to the owner of the house, of the people they were shooting at. One person got shot in one driveway, the other person got shot in another driveway, in a car. So my question is, and I'm gonna read this, it says, many towns in the city of Illinois have laws called crime-free housing or nuisance property. Ordinance that punish the landlords and the tenants based on the police and other emergency services responding at a rental property. Why is it that we don't have it out here? Why is it that then I tell my nephew, get on the floor, because I heard the thing hit something at my house. Go to work that Thursday, get up there Friday morning, I go into one of my bedrooms, I look on the wall. What is that? They shot through a window, through a wall, through the adjoining wall to the other wall. Now my question is, why is it that we don't have a crime-free rental out here? Why is it that my house, an owner that hasn't did anything to anybody out here, my house is getting shot?
I can answer to the best of my ability.
Wait, I'm sorry, Charles, I'm sorry, Mayor.
No.
Then I talked to the landlord and he said to me, oh, that's just rental property to me. This is what he said. And I said to him, you have multiple properties out here, but you don't live in this village anymore. You don't care about this village? He said, it's a rental property to me.
So here's my statement. We just actually went over the same situation about what's happening on 15th Street, exactly the same thing that you just shared. What Judge Studley is immediately requesting a meeting with the State's Attorney's Office. One, we gotta address this thing in more than one particular matter. With Judge Studley knows the process, the judicial process of how we could use the drug seizure program or the nuisance program to either force a property owner to evict a tenant, or the judge will take the property. Okay, so we're starting that process ASAP. We just got finished talking about it 15 minutes ago. Judge, I think that we should also look at a crime housing free ordinance. Is that
crime-free rental?
And do you know in what towns do you know that already have?
Chicago Heights have it. Tinley has it.
Most towns
have it in place. Let's look at it. I don't know. We may have it in place. I don't know. But
the thing that you have to recognize, though, is to look at it and find out how it's going to be enforced. Because that's the key to it. Is it going to be enforced by ordinance officers, or is it going to be enforced by the police department? Which means that it will be taken to Markham Court.
And why
So
we can't get, we have so-called, what do you call it?
Sheriffs.
Not sheriffs, people that go out and supposed to inspect the building, why can't we use
But
those?
see, now you're talking about in-house type of thing.
Okay.
And unless we have the hearing officers to enforce those ordinances, that's what we need to look at.
Okay. So you telling me, so I actually did call Tom Dart's office and ask them about, cameras on the end of my block. And they told me to come to your board, which you are the board. And I said to them, they said to me, go to your board and ask about putting cameras. I said, but there's cameras all around Fort Heights. All around. Why can't I get something down on Diplomat? So
And I think
obviously
I
somebody
talked
listened
with
to
Chief
me.
Morris, and he did indicate to me, I just signed off on, I think, what, Madam Clerk, it was about, what, 10 or 12 different locations?
Yes.
That they have fixed,
Yes.
the Diplomat is one of the
Well,
locations.
I noticed that
But
whatever call that.
let me say this though. I think that we're actually doing this thing correctly. Let's let the judge talk with the state's attorney's office. I honestly know that these drug houses, they've been selling dope, they didn't just appear. They've been around for a while. And they've had enough complaints where we should be able to go to the state's attorney's office and they force them to evacuate or sell the property, get rid of the property. Because we could try to talk to the sheriff, Cook County Sheriff. I have no confidence that much is gonna be done.
Well, I'm gonna be honest, they have been, the day that it happened, when, it happened on that night, and I didn't notice until that Friday morning that one of my, two of my bedrooms had been, damaged. They was at my house all day that day. I'm watching them from my camera. They're in and out my house all day. They're on Diplomat. They've been riding by. So a little bit of it has ceased, but
good.
it's the late night things. Like the other night, I watched a whole prostitution thing go down in front of my house. You know, because my camera kept going off.
Right.
Because of what's going on down there. And again, somebody listened because I noticed that they put a whole nother light down there. It's a bigger light than, I don't know if that's a camera on top of that pole or whatever, but it's just getting dangerous that me
You
being down there all
gotta,
years.
you gotta make these landlords accountable.
Exactly, but
Okay,
when
and
you
I
go to
think-
the landlord, the
And I
landlord
think
says,
that the proper way to do that is let's let the attorney do what he has to do. We'll start this process immediately. I'm very concerned. I've been on the phone, not only after I talked to you, but after I talked to several others. This happened on Ambassador. I talked to Trustee Viverette. They have the same problem on Ambassador and Diplomat, and then it's 15th Street. It doesn't make any sense. So we want to do whatever we can do, take every drastic measure we can take to eradicate this in our neighborhood.
and I understand everybody has a right to live somewhere, but why should we have to be the ones that's getting hurt? In the process of you moving somebody in because you want that $1,500 what is that whatever that stuff is you get.
And you're right.
Why should my property be damaged? Why should I have to go put in 2 new windows in my house because somebody was shooting at your sons and ended up shooting my house?
And it could be your right.
And it could have been my nephew in that room.
Right.
So you as a landlord telling me, oh, this just rental property to me because somebody has Section 8 and they're paying you $1,500 for Section 8.
Well, it's not only him. It's
And I get it. I'm not.
a guy on
I get
15th
everybody
Street.
else. You know,
Every
set
house
up
he rent
too.
out is to a drug dealer. And he lives in Markham. He does the same thing in Markham.
Well, I need to
with
see
his
somebody
property.
in Markham, because he's getting ready to put another, group of people
Yeah.
in that house.
And-
And what they do is they get a woman, and they get the woman to rent the place. And the next thing you know,
She's
he
gone.
can't come there to get his own rent money.
Let me do this, and I'm gonna call for a motion to adjourn.
That's how it goes.
Let the judge do what he has to do. Can I have a motion to adjourn? Wait, before I adjourn, there will not be a board meeting on Juneteenth. The 19th, we will not have a board meeting. Can I have a motion to adjourn? Moved by trustee Viverette, is there a second? Second by trustee Griffin, all in favor, give the sign of aye. All opposed, nay. So ordered. Thank you.